The name of the title of the movie is Stop Hiding Information, Why the OIA is Failing in 2026. For decades, the OIA has been the backbone and
For most of the 20th century, official information in New Zealand was legally considered the private property of the state. Under the Official Secrets Act of 1951, the government's default position was silence. Any public servant sharing information without authorization was committing a criminal offense. This created a steep hurdle for the public. If you wanted to know how a decision was made, the burden was on you to prove why you deserved to see the records. The tension peaked during the Think Big era of the late 1970s. Prime Minister Robert Muldoon's government launched massive infrastructure projects, but kept the costings and planning documents strictly confidential. This level of secrecy eventually proved unsustainable. As public pressure for accountability mounted, the government reached a breaking point, leading to the first major overhaul of New Zealand's information laws. In 1982, Justice Minister Jim Macleay moved to replace the old culture of secrets with a new framework, the Official Information Act. The entire act was built around a single, radical concept, the principle of availability. This principle flipped the legal burden of proof. The government had to justify hiding information rather than citizens proving they should see it. All government data became available by default, unless the state met a high legal threshold. This forced an immediate change in how the public service operated. The decades-long habit of secrecy was replaced by a new expectation of proactive transparency. The OIA eventually became a pillar of the country's constitutional framework. It altered the balance of power, making public oversight a statutory right, not a ministerial favor. Today, any New Zealand citizen, permanent resident, or person currently in the country can request data from government departments, ministers, and state agencies. Once a request is made, agencies have a legal requirement to respond as soon as possible, with a maximum limit of 20 working days. The Act recognizes some things must remain secret. Conclusive reasons allow the state to protect national security. For other requests, the government applies a public interest test, proving the potential harm of release outweighs the public's right to know. This process has uncovered everything from the costings of election policies to details on how billionaire Peter Thiel was granted citizenship after spending only 12 days in country. By establishing these specific rules, the Act moved the country away from institutional secrecy and towards its current reputation for high integrity. But after 40 years, this system is showing signs of strain. This chart shows why. OIA requests have increased by nearly 400% since 2016. This massive surge overwhelms government staff, creating chronic bottlenecks that delay the release of information for months. In response to this pressure, some agencies have begun using extensions and administrative silence to avoid meeting their deadlines. Transparency International New Zealand has highlighted these failures, pointing to a lack of a cohesive anti-corruption strategy and growing gaps in how the system is coordinated. By relying on these delays and administrative hurdles, the government is effectively shifting the burden of proof back onto the public. There is also very little consequence for non-compliance. Currently, an official who actively obstructs an ombudsman's investigation faces a maximum fine of just $200. This has created a paradox. Despite its open culture, New Zealand's aging Official Information Act has plummeted to 52nd globally. Newer laws surpass it with mandatory proactive disclosure and strict penalties for hiding information, features New Zealand currently lacks. To maintain its reputation, advocates argue the country needs a stronger regulator, modern proactive release frameworks, and meaningful penalties for those who obstruct the law. Open government is an ongoing commitment, not a static achievement from 1982. Without modernization, New Zealand risks falling behind the global standards it helped.
Hey everyone, if you're enjoying this, make sure to like and follow and hit subscribe for more great content. Thanks for watching.